Greetings and welcome to 303. We are now in the Unstoppable volume, and we're working now with lesson number 3 on page 5. Our work for the hour now is to read together the chapter called When It's Darkest, That's When the Stars Come Out. To just begin, though, our focus here is the question, how to handle authority. If you've got your journals already out to chapter 3, you can even write that down at the top of the page. How to handle issues of authority. That'll be a question for us, especially authority as it relates to adversity. Challenges, okay? Challenges, right? And the ways in which adversity can sometimes even affect our success. Let's listen to Mr. Conrad's observation. Perhaps, I'm reading together, perhaps I owe Levi a large dose of gratitude. After all, he single-handedly forced me to change the way I teach forever. I've told this story tens of thousands, right? Funny, on the day I exploded, I didn't see it that way. It was just Levi doing what he did best, being a pain in my class. Notice the play on words. I was given a ride back to work after dropping off a school van that day. As we approached the building, I saw Levi standing boldly in front of the school smoking pot. You might say he was taking his own class trip. I jumped out of the van, hauled him to the office where he lied and denied it all. Later that same morning in my class, Levi walked by me and said, "Thought you got me," while laughing. I was at the breaking point. I grabbed him by the shirt, laid him on the work table. I had my nose 1 inch away from his and I was screaming at the top of my lungs. Specks of spittle rained down on Levi's face. I've said it for years, that those in the teaching profession are 30 seconds from losing their job each day. How? Some kid pushes your buttons on a bad day and refuses to stop, and you lose it. What you do in those next 30 seconds could determine the rest of your future. Well, on this day, I was literally about 10 seconds away from slugging a major attitude adjustment on my, quote, favorite student. Luckily for Levi, he didn't smart off at that moment, because if he would have said anything, even help, this story would have a whole different ending. When I finished shouting at Levi, I turned to the rest of the class and yelled, "The rest of you get busy." Boy, they got busy. I scared them all. But when they laughed that day, I couldn't help but think Levi was the hero. He caused me to lose it. I pictured kids coming up to him and congratulating him, saying, "Dude, that was cool. Glad it wasn't me. Did you see that vein ready to pop out of Conrad's head?" That was the exact moment I remembered Dad's story of 20 years ago. "Son, look for the pony." I realized there had to be a pony around here somewhere because I was up to my neck in the horse poop. What I decided to do was give the kids something positive every Friday. Back then I called it the thought for the weekend. One Friday, while they were all lined up to leave, I told them, quote, "When it's darkest, that's when the stars come out," end quote. Most of them laughed and said, "So does the moon." Some looked dazed and confused. Come to think of it, that's how they always looked. There was one kid, Dale Musgrave, who got it. You could see the light bulb come on. The others didn't have a clue. When I was in high school, I led the league in scoring, not just my team. But during one crucial game, I went down right before halftime with what was thought to be a sprained ankle. Knowing I needed to play if the team was to have a chance of winning, Coach pointed right at me in front of everybody and said, "Son, when it's darkest, that's when the stars come out." I played the second half. After the game, I was told the ankle was separated. We lost the game, but I never lost the saying. It would become a belief, and the belief would become a conviction that not only changed my life, but Dale Musgrave's as well. Dale was a wrestler on our high school wrestling team, so talented that he qualified for state. However, the week before state, Dale broke his hand at practice, ruining his chance to compete for the championship. He went home that night with his hand in a cast and his arm in a sling, and his father told him that the guy he beat at districts would take his place at state. California High School Association rules prohibit anyone from wrestling with a cast on their arm. That night, in his living room, Dale held his cast up in the air and told his dad, "When it's darkest, that's when the stars come out." All week long at school, classmates, teachers, teammates said, "Tough break," literally. "But you've got nothing to be ashamed of." To everyone, Dale's reply was, "When it's darkest, that's when the stars come out." Those words became his power from within, and the power from within is unstoppable. Because he earned the right to go to state, our school allowed him to travel the 250 miles to Denver, even though he couldn't compete. But Dale had another plan. After the excitement of the opening ceremony, he turned to his coach, Roman Gertz, and said, "Cut the cast off. I didn't come to watch. I came to wrestle." Instead of feeling sorry for himself, Dale was looking for the pony. Dale's pony would be the power from within and the belief that his one good arm would beat all the other wrestlers with two. In that hour of darkness, a star was about to come out that would shine so brilliantly that it would light up the entire arena. On that weekend, Dale didn't just wrestle, he won the state championship with a broken hand. Afterward, he could not even hold up the cardboard bracket of his championship matches. They recast his hand immediately. Coach Roman Gertz would eventually go on to win 5 state championships with team titles, ensuring his spot in the Hall of Fame as one of the greatest high school wrestling coaches in Colorado. When Dale got back to class on Monday, he stuck his good hand out at me. At first, being a woodshop teacher, I thought he cut himself. "What's the matter?" I asked. "Nothing," Dale said. "I just want to shake your hand." "Why?" I asked. "Because I just won the state championship and I wanted to let you know you were a big part of it." "How was I a big part of it?" I questioned. "I didn't teach you any moves or techniques." "No. What you taught me is that no matter how dark it gets, my star can still shine. Thanks, man." I'll never forget what I did next. I walked up to my desk, opened the drawer, and pulled out a letter that I had worked on for a long time. I read the words on the letter that day and thought about all the problems with my program and job and what had just happened with Dale. Then I took that letter, tore it up, and threw it in the trash. What I threw in the trash that day was my letter of resignation. Back when I first told Dale's class when it's darkest, and they all laughed and made fun, I figured, the heck with this. I didn't need this job and the hassles. Thank God Dale helped me to find the pony. Along with that, I would learn to break the chains. Very quickly, the observation here, of course, is often adversity is of the kind where we think it is done, it is over. But sometimes it's in the middle of the worst imaginable adversity. Boy, oh boy, is this true of a lot of our students at Wayland High School could say this in their own private life. When it seems the worst imaginable time, something good seems to happen to come out of that. Mr. Conrad wanting us to remind ourselves when it's darkest, sometimes that's when you find your way, in spite of all the darkness. Thank you.